Hey, what's up guys? Everything Apple Pro here. iOS 11 Beta 4 is here and I've been digging through it, finding a ton of new features to share with you. So Apple actually added a lot of tricky ones in here that puzzled me, so let's get straight into it. This one has a ton of new changes. Apple brought it back. On the lock screen, you can finally slide to notifications to quickly access them, view clear this way, and over here open. So if you want to go ahead and clear all the way, just go ahead and slide it and keep sliding it to the end. Now Apple has included this new screen where you can tap on a notification and you get this interface here. Now on devices without 3D touch, you can no longer hold to open a notification like that. That no longer works as it's replaced by the slide feature. Now this one is going to be very subtle. How I even found this, I don't really know, but there are a few little distinct changes on the lock screen that Apple did adjust. So first off, the lock icon slightly moves a few pixels to the right. The colon in between the time over here moves slightly, and the signal bars drop down a little bit lower. So Apple made some very tiny adjustments to the placement of some things on the lock screen. Now the emergency SOS feature on iOS 11 has received some adjustments in Beta 4. So as you can see, the power button logo over there is a little bit bolder. Over here on Medical ID, the logo itself has become more rounded. The M in Medical ID is now capitalized, and the SOS font is a little bit thinner now, a little bit smaller. The cancel button is now not so bold, it's a little more grayed out. Now when you're in the widgets view page, you will now be able to see press home to unlock text on the bottom, whereas on Beta 3 it doesn't show up. The Wi-Fi icon itself has become bolder, very hard to catch, but a little bit more distinct. Now 3D touch on settings to reveal a new cellular data icon. It's more of a pin now instead of a cellular data tower. An annoying little one Apple has fixed: 3D touching on an app icon and holding it will no longer invoke the wiggle mode. We got a lot of app icons that have been updated. Let's start with the bolder ones here. Take a look at Notes. There aren't so many lines on it now, a little bit more distinct. Reminders has gotten worse in my opinion, as it has swapped orientations. Also, we've got a new Contacts icon, which I do like. Quite simple there, but it doesn't stop there. It keeps going. So Stocks has been reworked just a little bit different, and I actually had to go into Photoshop to confirm that I'm not crazy and just seeing things, but definitely you'll notice some changes there. And this goes on for the phone application, for Safari, for books, for the iTunes store, for the home, news, weather, photos, mail, FaceTime, and the compass as well. All of those got some reworked little shadows, positioning, sizing, so definitely some changes to the icons on iOS 11 Beta 4. Now for certain applications, you will be able to scrub now using the stock music player. Now it doesn't work for Spotify, but one user from 95Mac did report it does work on Vox now on Beta 4. Phone call, you'll also see that the new Contacts icon is reflected here. There's a refined closing animation in the app switcher. Instead of being so abrupt, it's a lot smoother now. Notice how the apps kind of flow to the front just like that. Also, when you reach the end and have no more to close, it automatically closes on you, no longer hangs like this. And if you try and go back in, it will not let you. There's a haptic feedback and it just jumps back with a new animation. In Spotlight search results, now the first word is bold and the rest are very thin, not like before. So it's a little easier to distinguish which letters you're searching with. Also on the very bottom in Spotlight search, you'll notice that the suggestions here now have app icons next to them. Previously, enabling airplane mode would not turn off Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Now it does, and not just disconnects, actually turns them off. Of course, you can still turn them on with airplane mode on. A lot of interface changes in the control center, starting with the stopwatch icon. Also with that enabled, check this out, you have a nice cool little animation with it spinning instead of just sitting blue, so that's a really nice one. Also the low power mode, with that enabled, you've got a cool little animation on that one as well. And the battery icon itself is now not so bold, made a little bit thinner. The screen mirroring text has been made a little bit larger, and you can actually press on screen mirroring instead of needing to 3D touch on it to open now. The volume bars on the volume indicator over here are now more fuzzy. They're not so precise. They made a little bit wider looking. I'm not sure I like that change though. And again, Apple has made this 3D touch platter just a little bit smaller, so optimizing that yet again. And when using the screen record toggle, it no longer just jumps right in. It actually has a neat little timer in case you pressed it on accident, which is really nice. So you can turn it off just like that. And the cool thing about it is while it's recording, it actually has this really neat animation. So instead of just glowing red, it'll flash like that, let you know that's happening. If you 3D touch on it, you'll notice the interface has been made a little bit cleaner here, not broadcast anymore, it's start recording. So that broadcast feature might not be a thing. Now 3D touching on the calculator toggle will actually show you the last result now instead of just asking you to copy it. And the wallet icon here actually has a 3D touch platter now, so you can add a card directly from here. On the home screen, that change is also reflected as the icon has an add card 3D touch platter. And this little DaVinci guy over here for accessibility shortcuts has a 3D touch platter of its own. So there are a couple new splash screens in the Photos app. This one to begin with, and this one over here that allows you to explore live photo effects. Now when editing a photo in beta 4 using the crop feature, if you want to crop from the top, it will no longer bring down the notifications. Now it works perfectly and has a little slider of its own for the notifications in case that is what you wanted to use. Not sure I like this change on Apple's part, but the capacity of your device can no longer be truly seen. It just shows the actual capacity stated on the box of your iPhone. So this is a 32 gig device and only 32 gig capacity, which is clearly not true. You can no longer actually see a couple things inside of your device. So jumping on the carrier, you used to be able to see the PRL. Now you can no longer tap and see that information. Also, the tab for MEID from your device has been removed entirely. Now going into the legal stuff, the regulatory has received a long addition, a bunch of new regulatory stickers over here. In the control center customization page, the new icon for timer is reflected here. Also, the icon for contacts and settings has been updated as well, and the accounts and passwords icon is changed now to a vertical key. In the general settings, we can see that there is a new option for AirDrop here, where you can go ahead and adjust that instead of having to go into here every single time. And Apple continues to optimize the search results, as the labeling and actual search results are a little bit different in beta 4. Now Apple is adding more language support to settings. This is Danish, and as you can see, all of the labels now change with beta 4. Also, same for Dutch and several other languages. Now when signing in using an Apple ID, you'll now see a little question mark in the text field, and that's to help you with your passcode in case you forget it. In the calendar settings, there is a new tab for the default calendar where you can choose between home and work. In the iCloud settings for name, phone numbers, and email, you'll notice that the interface has been slightly updated. It's a little cleaner and includes a description in the box for each setting. Also, the back button, instead of being Apple ID, now just says back. Also, in individual storage settings per application, you'll notice a new interface here. It's a little bit cleaner as well. I also noticed that all throughout the settings in beta 4, you are able to scroll down further than in beta 3. If you jump into any area of do not disturb, that goes from the main page, this mumbo jumbo of text has been replaced with just a back button. The interface inside of FaceTime settings is a little bit neater now, not so much cluttered. For some reason in messages, Apple removed the messages on iCloud button, but before it wasn't pressable really anyways. The Siri and search tab is now just called Siri, and inside there's an updated description over here. Inside of the music settings, for some reason show star ratings, the option is gone. Inside of photo settings, there's a new section to transfer to Mac or PC. Inside of the Messages app, going to the search page, you'll notice it's now a little bit cleaner. In Messages, the quick camera button over here reveals a new interface where you can use this bottom portion to drag it. Honestly terrible, much smaller, harder to decide. The echo screen effect in Messages has been fixed, finally. Now in the App Store, on the search page, you'll notice the little icons for the search have been removed, making it simpler. And jump into the update section and you can now drag to refresh. When you open up the Notes application, you'll notice the updated splash screen looks really good. The icons look very clean. Now when you create a table on beta 4 and then click that button again, you have more options here. And for some reason for me, the add a person over here to share notes is no longer working or no longer visible in the Notes app. In the Health app, there's an updated splash screen detailing new graphs in Health and iCloud. And in the TV app, there is also a new splash screen for signing into your TV provider. Lots of splash screens all around. In iTunes, the bottom row icons have all been made bolder, following suit with recent applications. Also in iTunes, the search bar has been made a little bit bolder. And in the More tab, you'll notice the icons have been made a little bit bolder and more distinct. And when adding a new card in the Wallet application, there's a slightly cleaner interface matching more of iOS 11. When loading a web page in beta 4, you'll notice the X on the top left is a little bit bit bolder. In the Files app, Apple for some reason removed the on my iPhone or on my iPad location. Also, the Mac OS X server option is no longer there. And lastly, on iPad, when setting mine up, I verified that the iCloud bypass I showed you guys no longer works. Apple has patched that, and there are a couple new splash screens that I've never seen before, one helping with the quick start and the dock access it from anywhere splash screen. Before, when in wiggle mode on iPad, you can actually delete apps from the recent dock. Now the icon has changed and it's just to remove them from the temporary. And the support to import raw photos over the SD card adapter for iPad is now working. Also, iCloud family sharing for storage is also enabled in beta 4. And PG Hart reports that the health data look is now entirely redesigned. This is for the sleep analysis. Alright guys, so there it is, the latest on beta 4. Last thing I wanted to share with you is the Geekbench. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. And there it is, 3464, 5947, which goes even higher than the last one for the multi-core score. So overall, I'd say it is a very, very responsive version of iOS 11. So far, beta 3 has been pretty terrible. So this is really, really nice. I can feel all of the refinements. It's a lot quicker. Definitely update if you are on a lower beta. There it is, guys. Hope you enjoyed the latest features from beta 4. Peace.